Hello, everyone. My name is Akal, and I am a somatic therapist and an astrological counselor, etc. If you'd like to find out about the services I offer, you can check out my website, which I have posted down below the video. Also, down below the video is the website vaultoftheheavens.com, where you can go to get your specific nakshatras. And you want to look at your sun, your moon, and your ascendant, with the moon probably being the most important. So, what we're looking at today is we're looking at Ardra Nakshatra. But as it relates specifically to the padas, or the four divisions within Ardra. And more specifically, we're looking at how not so much about the characteristics or the gods, or the rulership, or anything like that. We're looking at the planets themselves, how these fundamental energies intertwine, and how those energies then express to essentially give you the archetype, which is Ardra. So Ardra, this nakshatra gets such a bad rap. It's like, oh, it's represented by a teardrop, and the god is Rudra, the god of destruction. So all this stuff sounds really bad. And so I kind of want to elaborate a little bit why these associations are placed on this nakshatra, because I will tell you from personal experience, when I've met Ardra people, they usually, actually a lot of them I find are actually very spiritually inclined. A lot of them are also very flexible minds. And anyway, generally, like I said, I don't think they necessarily deserve this description as this like horrific energy. However, I could see early in life how these things might play out. So, and I'll get to that in a moment, because those go back to the padas and the planets that are associated with the padas. So to keep in mind, when you're looking at any of these nakshatras and the padas, you're looking at nuances. Each one of the padas, each of the four padas represents this sort of nuance. However, you may have been born in, say, pada 2, in this particular case ruled by Saturn, so you may have an emphasis of that particular energy. However, all four of the padas apply to Ardra Nakshatra. So again, just keep in mind that all four padas, the totality of those padas, are attributes within Ardra. So looking at Ardra, keeping in mind, one, it falls within Mercury, or within Gemini, ruled by Mercury. So what we're looking at here again is we're looking at inherently a very intellectual, flexible, intelligent, it's kind of redundant, intelligent and intellectual. You get my drift. So, and again, this is like very, very driven sort of energy. It's driven to move towards knowledge, information, research, etc., etc. So, I don't know, everyone I've ever met here, like I said, they tend to be a little bit very bookish and extremely intelligent. So, Ardra is specifically ruled by Rahu. So Rahu, I think, is when we start to get maybe a little bit of a look as to why all these negative associations are with this placement. So Rahu is the North Node in astrology. The North Node in astrology, Rahu, is essentially, and I love this association, is the head without a body. So what you get with Rahu-ruled nakshatras is some obsessiveness. Now, obsession, it's good and it's bad. It's good because it can make the person very driven. It can drive a person, towards some particular goal, like very intensely and in a very focused way. However, what are they missing along the way? So I like to think about Rahu, and Mars to some extent is like this as well, which is this sort of impulsive energy on some level. But Rahu, again, is very like mental focus, mental obsession. So it's like having blinders on. So if you're having blinders and you're pursuing your goals, Ardra is still within the sort of Rajasic third of the zodiac. And what I mean by that, it's still within the sort of active third of the zodiac. And that goes from Aries up through Cancer. And it's very active towards, I guess, the ego is looking to sort of express its mission in life, its passions in life, and its activities and things like that. So that first third of the zodiac, it has that kind of energy, that kind of flow. So this energy is still here. So we're looking at drive, goal-oriented movement towards things. The most superficial, or the energy that is ultimately projected out here is sattva. Sattvic energy is neutral. It's the neutral mind, basically. So this is what gives these people, in my opinion, a sort of hope. There's a balance here, because you got all this like obsessiveness that comes along with like, a Rahu ruled placement. But ultimately, what they're moving towards is a sattvic nature. So they're learning along the way, and it's a bumpy path, discernment. They're learning how to cultivate the neutral mind, which is why everyone I've known who's at Ardra as a placement, they can become so uncomfortable in their own skin to some degree unless they learn meditation. So meditation has been really important for everyone I've known, but maybe that's my bubble that I exist in. However, we're going to look at the pada specifically now, and this will give us, the sort of bigger understanding what's happening over one's life path. The padas, or another way to look at padas, is they sort of show your life's progression from birth to death in a lot of ways. So early in life, you could say, Ardra Nakshatra individuals are ruled by Jupiter. There's a Jupiter energy that kind of starts to play out. So that will trigger curiosity. That's the word for first pada, curiosity. That is the emphasis here. So now, why curiosity? Well, Jupiter is like lightning. It's whatever brings heaven to earth. That's the best way I've always liked to look at it. It is about bringing heaven to earth. It's about those things that we experience in this lifetime that bring about expansion. So you could say spirituality, you could say philosophy, religion, etc. So I would say, though, early on, Jupiter here, curiosity, we're looking at, it's not a super spiritual thing. Like these folks are not spiritual at this point yet. This is more philosophy, ideologies, again, just sort of curiosity about, wanting information, knowledge. Now, the second and third padas are both ruled by Saturn. And this is the humbling that Ardra has to go through. Again, you've got this very obsessive focus. And so this very obsessive focus is in a lot of ways humbled and brought back down to earth by the energy of Saturn in the second pada. It can be a very rude awakening. It says here material. What Saturn does is it keeps us looking outside of ourselves. It's something that will bring about, uncomfortable situations in life. And it happens so much in the background that we're kind of, to some degree, not aware of it. So what ends up happening is things happen in life that keep us sort of focused externally, so that we're always moving toward spiritualization. I mean, that's the thing that people don't take for granted with the planet Saturn. Saturn's a very spiritual placement. But it's a spiritual placement because it creates suffering and fear and, just uncomfortable situations in life, so that you're forced to learn. Lots of education here. So lots of learning. So you could even say Ardra Nakshatra, early in life, may have some sort of situation that humbles them. Some nasty thing that happens to them that sort of says, all right, you got to focus on the external world. You got to figure out your way out of this situation. So material, it says, again, it could be, they're focused on material things. They're focused on the situation at hand. Third pada, once again, ruled by Saturn. And it says research. So we're looking at that evolution of curiosity. That evolution of curiosity then starts to focus on the material things. And then as it matures, that could be research. And again, it could be research into material plane things. It could be, like a doctor, let's say, or somebody who's in some sort of, PhD program or something like that. Like, I can kind of see that with this placement is, again, very intelligent people who want to do research. They want to understand the material world around them. So they kind of dive in. And it's through this diving into the material things that ultimately end up progressing into the fourth pada, which is once again Jupiter. However, it's through a greater degree of understanding at this point. So I would dare say that these folks in the fourth pada is Jupiter, and the word that I saw, my shoulder's in the way, is compassion. And compassion to me is a spiritual association. So this whole progression takes a long time. So Ardra natives later in life, I would say, again, if they're continuing to pursue, and they don't get discouraged, if they continue to move towards life, they're going to go through, this focusing on the outer world. They're going to have like a lot of ideas, very intellectual, very intelligent. They're going to have situations that rise. They're going to kind of, like I said, knock them out of their sort of Rahu obsession. To get that Rahu obsession to look elsewhere, to look at other things. And that's the purpose of Saturn in this placement. It's that sort of humbling, that sort of, hey, wake up, look over here. It's to get those blinders off to some degree. Because, again, by the end here, this compassionate energy is developed. It's very spiritual. And it could be a very rich placement because of that. Again, always keeping in mind that the expression of Ardra is ultimately that of sattvic or neutral. So they have a neutral disposition that they're projecting out into the world, which means that ability to be objective. So lots of really interesting contradictory energies here with Ardra. I really enjoyed kind of looking into this. So with all that said, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.